Bob, I'd say this game panned out pretty much the way you expected. We both expected. I called it a little more of a difference than you did, but it was a cold weather game. Michigan's a cold weather team. That's really the way I look at it, and they won it even when early on they didn't look like they might.
Penn State had a great chance early in this game, Dave. They were moving the ball. They were playing with tempo. They got 3 points out of 2 possessions. They got a little bit crazy with the fake punt, fake field goal.
A little bit.
One led.
So on 4th and 2, let me ask you about that. At that point in the game, on 4th and 2, how about just kick the field goal? Is it that? Do you have to make that decision?
The second red zone trip when they're up 3-0.
And other people would say, if you're going to run something, run a regular play on 4th and 2. So what do you do?
Yeah, I don't know that you want Jordan Stout handling the ball too much, other than with his right foot.
Yeah, I mean, what you're talking about is it used to be holders used to be they were quarterbacks,
right?
But now they're usually punters, and so that was a punter throwing to a kicker in space, throwing to a kicker in space, and you're going to have the kicker make a play.
I mean,
come on,
it's just a little much, but yeah, I mean the game kind of what we thought it would be. It was Penn State going to be able to block those edge guys? The answer was no. First play, Sean Clifford absorbed half a season's worth of punishment. I mean, he cannot be feeling great.
He did not come out afterward, by the way, and he just had.
He always does.
He always does. So he had the crap beat out of him. 7 sacks, 12 tackles for loss.
Despite all of that, they kind of pull it together a little bit at the end. They managed to tie the game with a touchdown on 4th down, 2-point conversion. Then Arnold Ebiketie.
A perfect throw by Clifford.
Arnold Ebiketie comes up with a big play in the red zone. They settle for the field goal. 6 minutes to go, and Michigan runs it, and then they run this crossing route, and 2 Penn State corners run into each other. It's a catch and run, 47-yard touchdown.
I also. What are you looking at?
Oh, this guy's like going like this to me. I don't know what to tell you.
He's not talking to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You never know what these maintenance workers.
Were you on the grass?
I'm not on the grass.
On the grass.
I was never on the grass. Anyway,
I thought Clifford played a really, really tough game and made some good throws, and he got hit right at the end where he could barely get off the field. And it was not a sack. It was actually on a blitz by number 2 Michigan safety.
Yeah, this team to me looks like it's out of answers offensively.
Maybe
they waited too long to go to Kevon Lee. He was their best runner this year. He got, I think, 88 yards, made some plays. But James said it. I mean, if Jahan Dotson doesn't have a big game, they're in trouble against a quality defense, and they were again today. It's unfortunate, but nothing's really going to change. I expect they'll beat Rutgers, and they're going to be in trouble at Michigan State.
Yeah, on that last drive that they had to have, and they had to have it, every play was made by either Lee or Dotson. And look, there was every single yard on that series. They don't really have enough guys that they can count on. The tight ends have completely disappeared almost.
Yeah.
They really don't have a second wideout. We thought they kind of would, a second or third wideout in this game. But what it really came down to is Michigan did not run the ball very well in the first quarter. Right. It looked like, and I said before the game, we're going to know in the first quarter whether Michigan's going to be able to play bully ball.
Yeah.
And we didn't know because they didn't do it in the first quarter. Then in the second, they just kept at it, hammering with Hassan Haskins. They didn't even have their little their race cars, so Blake Corum.
Yeah.
And they still just kept hammering, and they were who they are, and they know who they are. And I don't know if Penn State knows who they are, but they're not a cold weather team.
Real quick, you had a chance to talk to Aiden Hutchinson, one of the stars in the game.
And Jim Harbaugh,
Well, didn't Aiden have the most telling quotes?
Yeah, Hutchinson, did he have 3 sacks or 2? I think
they combined for 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 quarterback hits.
2 others.
Partridge in a pear tree.
You identified those guys as a big part of the problem for Penn State, and they certainly were. He said after the first series, where I think Jabo and he both had sacks, that he said, we knew right there, and he said, I'll tell you what else, the quarterback knew. The quarterback knew that we were going to be in there all day.
It's like Al Davis said, at some point early in the game, the quarterback must go
must go
down,
down, and he
must go down hard. Well, that's exactly
Yeah.
what Michigan
Yeah.
did, and I think at the end of the game, Sean Clifford heroically finished it,
He did.
but barely.
Cold weather football, and Michigan knows how to play cold weather football.
4 losses in the last 5 games for Penn State, 5-0. That seems like a year ago, and it's just a different team. And James keeps talking about things they got to work on. They're pretty much out of time.
Out of time, and you would, no guarantees at this point.
No.
You say they're probably going to beat Rutgers.
Probably.
Rutgers won by 5 touchdowns today. They're all revved up. I know it's Indiana.
You know Greg
who's dying.
Schiano. You love yourself some Greg Schiano. It could happen.
I mean, if there's an emotional valley on the schedule, it's next week against Rutgers. Don't
Don't you dare
And then-
suggest 6-6,
Then
sir.
at Michigan State. So
6-6,
you can't
yikes.
count on anything
Yeah.
with this team right now. I agree with you. That's it from Beaver Stadium. Until next week with the RU
Schianos.
Scarlet Knights.
Senior day.
Sayonara.